Longport Media or their sponsors. News Talk 1400 WOND welcomes you to the Kevin Hall Show program, where your calls are important, but so is dialogue and finding solutions. Dial 609-927-1100 to share your views and become a doer, not just a complainer. 927-1100. That's 609-927-1100. Now here's your host, Kevin Hall.
Oh, when the sun beats down and burns the tar up on the roof, and your shoes get so hot you wish your tired feet were fireproof. Under the boardwalk, down by the sea, yeah. On a blanket with my baby, that's where I'll be. Under the boardwalk, out of the sun. Under the boardwalk, we'll be having some fun. Under the boardwalk, people walking above. Under the boardwalk, we'll be falling in love. Under the boardwalk, boardwalk.
Yeah. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Kevin Hall Show program for this Friday. It's the 28th day of July. It's our last Friday show, Henry Hank Green. That is the co-host and executive producer of the show program. What's happening, man?
What's happening? What's going on, Atlantic County?
Yes, absolutely. And in the producer's booth is Nick Wargo. Hey, Nick.
Yes, good evening, guys. How's it going?
Oh,
Hey,
going
Nick.
pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. I understand that we're going to make somebody happy because they're going to get a chance to see one of the founders of the Motown Sound. She and her group, the Vandellas, I'm talking about Martha Reeves, is going to be in Cape May at the Cape May Conventions. Oh, yes.
There'll be some quick sand out there this weekend.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yes. Oh, man. Hopefully not. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, and quite frankly, we'll handle whatever comes our way because we're not going to let anything get us down. That's part of the reason why we're kind of happy that we have a very special guest that we want to make sure that you know about. Because as you get involved in this conversation that we're going to have with this gentleman, you'll understand why it is important that we get his views on the things that are happening in and around Atlantic County. I am talking about Colin Bell. He is at the top of the ticket for District 2. He will be running for State Senate. We also have, as Assembly people, Mr. Mazzio and Mr. Armato, and we are going to be talking about the body politic and how we think things will fare, because he is up against an opponent that can't wait to hear how Hank is going to handle this, because Hank, who is not a typical person who would you would think would endorse a Republican. He has been high on Mr. Bell's opponent for a while, and so we're getting ready to have a nice little discussion.
Throw me right under the bus. Mr. Bell. Give me a chance to know who the man is first, because I'm not that type of guy. Because I don't
No,
know
you're
the
not.
gentleman.
That's right.
I'm not that type of person. So,
but we want to welcome. We want to welcome Colin Bell.
Way to throw me under the bus like that. You know what I mean? Don't believe all of that stuff.
Hey, listen, Mr. Bell, we just want to say thank you for coming to the Kevin Hall Show program with me, Hank, and Nick, because, like I said, we just have conversations, and what I like is his response when I was telling him, I don't talk to people, before the shows and all that, and he says, I just like answering questions and bring it on, and I like that, because, a lot of people, and we'll be talking about that through the course of the next couple of hours, have been... I guess adjusting their treatment of us. Now, I don't know what you have been experiencing, but I work in the city hall, and I'm telling you, the shoulders are cold, and I don't exactly know why. I mean, especially since a couple of these people that we'll be talking about, really, I don't understand it. I mean, what did I do other than speak my opinion? I mean, JP says it before the show comes on every time. Hey, the views expressed are those of the participants. and not necessarily those of anybody else. It's just our opinion. And we can disagree. But we can also try to find, this is what Hank and I have been trying to encourage people to do, and I'm hoping everyone can hear this. We'd like for you to consider, okay, this is my position on X. Now, somebody is going to disagree with my position on X. We don't want to say, I believe in X, I believe in X, I believe in X, no matter what, no matter what, no matter what. We'd like to encourage people to consider what somebody else is saying because it may modify your position on X and may even change your position on X. So let's get this information out and let's try to have a nice little discussion.
I think that we are, good genuine men with good minds and able to objectively look at situations, even if it's not our personal opinions.
That's right.
Understand that maybe this might be something that's the right thing, and even though it's not necessarily right for me in my situation, this is the right thing for everyone else as a whole. Generally, morally. Or through my character, those types of things like that. And you can show me, sometimes I have a view on certain things and I'm not always right. And I know that I'm not always right.
That's right. Normal.
And those be my views from where I'm sitting in my position. But sometimes people can talk to me and give me a different reason why, or a different way of going about it, or other reasons why situations occurred the way that they occurred. And I can have come out of it with a different opinion of that situation at that moment.
Absolutely.
And understand that, well, maybe my position wasn't the correct position at that time. And how I thought about it, me initially. And I'm more than willing to learn and understand the different views and positions. And if there's something that's better, or it works better for me and I see it works better for everyone else, I can change my views.
Now, Mr. Bell, we have a state senator right now who is in your party. Is Senator Whalen helping you in terms of getting your name out there, getting the supporters that he has enjoyed to support you? Because I would think that the most important thing is to have continuity, especially in terms of party representation. There's a certain style and a certain way that a Democrat might feel versus a Republican, even though there may be a little question about that, but we'll get into that a little later. What say you, sir?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on tonight. I appreciate the opportunity. Senator Whalen is great. It's one of the first people that I talked to when I first got involved in politics, when I ran for freeholder the first time in 2011. So he's been something of a political mentor to me over the years. As it was in the news, he's had some health issues of late, and I know everyone's keeping him in their thoughts and prayers as he recovers from that. So he's been a little out of the box the last couple of weeks, but he's been a great help to me in terms of talking about some of the issues and on the policy side, and of course there's a politics angle too, and introducing me to some people maybe I didn't know before who have supported him in the past. So that's been a great thing. But at the end of the day, even before, and I want you to get on to that, but I want you, even before those things, explain to the people who you are, and as far as politics, the things that you've done already, the offices you had and things like that, because you've already talked about those, and I don't know if our audience know any of these things about you. Some of these things I don't know. Okay. Well, grew up in Mays Landing, went to Hamilton Township Public Schools, Oakcrest High School, left for college and law school, came back. After I graduated law school, clerked for Judge Donio, who was now retired, was the head criminal judge. Went to the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office after that. Did a few years in the prosecutor's office before I left, went into private practice at Hankins, Sandman, Palladino, and Weintraub in Atlantic City. I do a lot of construction law, working on representing general contractors, some of the bigger ones around here that do public jobs, roads, bridges, that sort of thing. Married, my wife Sarah Beth, who's also an attorney. We have 2 kids, Asher, who just turned 7, and my daughter Sloan, who will be 4 in October. We live in Margate. So we're both, my wife's from Hamilton originally. And even before that, I grew up in Mays Landing, but on my mom's side of the family are Slaughter-offs who have been around Atlantic City for a long time, going back to my great-grandfather Max, who had a clothing store on Virginia Avenue.
That is right.
So are you related to Craig?
Yeah, my cousin Craig.
Craig's your cousin? Who I love Craig.
He unfortunately passed away.
I know he passed away. We graduated together, played football in high school. He was one of my brothers. You know what I mean? It's so sad that I heard that he passed away. But yes, Craig was a good friend of mine, and we went through the trenches together. Definitely. Yeah,
he was a good guy, and he was one of the many. At one point, there was something like 7 Dr. Slaughter-offs running around Atlantic County. But it's something that was always, going back to my grandfather and Craig's grandfather, my Uncle George.
I used to drive around and people didn't have any money. They would get paid in chickens and eggs and that sort of stuff, driving the circuit around. And, sometimes my grandmother would yell at him, like, you got to get some money sometimes. We can't just, survive on chicken and eggs. But, he cared about the people in the area. And that's something that, I learned. They lived over on Ansley Boulevard in Pleasantville, right in front of the old high school, where I spent years of my life. And, it's something I learned from my grandparents and my parents. My mother's a nurse. My father was in the Army in Vietnam, came back, worked for the state, and then eventually got a job in the casino. He just retired 2 years ago in February. Hard work, caring about the community, and trying to do something to help people. And when my son was born, that year, this Kids Count survey came out, ranks health and well-being of children by county, children living in poverty, children's access to health care. And that year, Atlantic County was ranked last. We were 21st out of 21 counties, and I looked at my son and, I knew he was going to be fortunate, with my wife and I could take care of him in a way that maybe some other kids didn't have the opportunity in that county. And that's what inspired me to run for office in the first place, to run for freeholder, to try to do something about that. And I was fortunate to get elected in 2012. And which was a crazy time, and I'll talk about that later. With her, my house got nailed by Hurricane Sandy a couple of weeks because I lived in Atlantic City at the time. But was fortunate to get elected, and I served on the Freeholder Board and ran for the Assembly in 2015. Was a couple votes short, and very close election. And this Senate seat was open, and I thought some things that Senator Whalen stood for, and some of the things that I believed in and still needed to be done, and decided to throw my hat in the ring, and here we are.
Tell me about this. When you were a freeholder, you were a Democrat
Yes.
on a widely Republican freeholder board. How was your time there?
Well, it was 7-2 the entire time that I was there. It was myself and first Charlie Garrett, and then Ernest Corsi was the other Democrat. And I was the only at-large Democrat. Listen, partisan politics got in the way of a lot of things, unfortunately. But, I fought for some things that I really believed in that we got done. My very first day as a first regular meeting, besides the reorg, I thought the meeting was over. They passed something out. I said, we're going to pass this. We have to spend $750,000 to bail out the South Jersey Economic Development District. I said, hold on a second, guys. We're adding this on at the end. We have to do it today. I ended up not voting for it, not because it wasn't the right thing to do, but because I thought the public deserved to know what we were going to do before we vote on it.
Absolutely.
And so I came back, and the next meeting, I got them to pass for the first time to put everything online before we vote on it, which seems like a revolutionary idea, but it was 2012. The fact that we weren't putting things on the internet so you could see what we're voting on before we vote on. So now if you go on the Freeholder Board page, you see the agenda, you see all the resolutions, you see the backup to it. So, 4 o'clock on Tuesdays, it's hard for some people to make, but at least now you know what your Freeholder Board is doing before you go to the meeting. Absolutely. So you have a voice on it. So that's something I was able to do. I fought for programs to provide housing for homeless veterans, for Sandy victims, that I didn't think that we were doing enough. Expedited job training for laid off casino workers. A veteran set aside to try to get some contracts to some of the service people who were coming back, who were looking for jobs. So there were some frustrations, but there were also some victories, some things that I thought I was able to walk across party lines. We banned smoking in the county parks. I thought when you took your kids to the county park, and whether it's McClellan Park at the end of Atlantic City or Estelle Manor or if your kids are there on the playground, they shouldn't have to have cigarette smoke going right next to them. So,
absolutely.
So we were able to do that in a bipartisan way.
Now, you're going through, your job and different things, and you are, because you're already connected to politics, you're staying up on the various things that are going on. Was there a singular thing that made you say, look, there's a chance that, with Whalen possibly stepping down, I need to step up because I want to have this addressed? Because your opponent, and you might notice we haven't said his name yet, your opponent might believe that he also is able to take advantage of this opportunity. What happened that made you say, something, I'm going to step into this position as a Democrat, and I'm going to take him on despite what the popularity might be and what people might be saying? What happened?
Well, yeah, I believe in telling the truth to people and telling people the truth even when it's not what they want to hear. And I think we need that voice. I think Senator Whalen has been a guy who's been pretty upfront sometimes people would say a little too upfront about things he supports. He's a guy that's running around in an election year talking about taxes on plastic bags and taxing fantasy football and stuff that they would tell you, politically you shouldn't be doing that, but it's stuff that he believed in. So we talked about it. And I think we need that honest, upfront politician who will tell you what's the truth, not just what you want to hear. I think I'm that guy. I guess we can talk about my opponent later. I don't think he's that guy. And I think that we need that. It's important to have that here in Atlantic County.
How's things going right now?
Things are going great. We have a headquarters open. We have 4 full-time staff. We are getting a lot of support, whether it's volunteers at phone banks or, raising money. We're really running the campaign that I wanted to run, and I'm proud of the way that we're doing it. We are really doing a grassroots effort, getting out. I've knocked on thousands of doors already together with my running mates. I think that's the best way to campaign.
Absolutely.
Get out and talk to people.
Absolutely, sir. I agree with that.
We started in May, and I don't think anyone's ever started knocking on doors in May. I brought you one of our walk cards. We burned through 5,000 of them already, and we're in the second order. So I think that's the important way to do it. We're going around meeting in small groups, talking to voters about the issues that they care about. And that's the best way to learn what the issues are. At this level, and both sides, we have pollsters and consultants and all. Everybody has that when you're running this hot of a race, because this is the top target for both parties in the state. Everybody knows. But it's never the same as knocking on someone's door and saying, what's most important to you? And that's really what's guiding us as we go forward.
What do you find out are the things that are most important to people that people are expressing to you?
Jobs. I think turning the economy around down here is the number one issue that's on everybody's mind, whether they live in Atlantic City or Buena Vista or somewhere in between. People want the economy turned around down here. They want the economy diversified. So that we're not totally dependent on gaming like we've been in the past. And they want jobs that are not just, some of these gig economy type jobs, but, real jobs that provide a good wage and health benefits, that they can afford to raise their family on, because we have here in Atlantic County what we have in a lot of the country, which is an evaporating middle class. And we need to create the jobs and attract the businesses, to reverse that trend.
How do we go about doing something like that? We have some different people. We have the pilot program, which I definitely want to talk about the pilot program. 927-1100, 927-1100 if you want to get in. Talk to Colin Bell. If you have any questions for him, please do. He's here. He's ready to talk. He seems like he's an open guy.
Absolutely.
I just was saying about the pilot in itself. Where do you actually stand on that pilot? Is it something that you support? Is it something that you think that's going to help the city? What do you think about that?
Well, I certainly don't think it's perfect. And I don't think, obviously nothing that people create is perfect. But, something had to be done at the time to stop the tax appeal lottery. The city could not afford another round of casino tax appeals, literally could not afford it to pay them. And I think stabilizing those taxes, that's kind of the reason that we see the investment in Hard Rock. That those guys were not going to come in and open a casino when they didn't know what their tax bill was going to be. Unfortunately, it's gotten politicized. It's gotten heavily politicized. I think something that people don't realize down here, Senator Whalen, Assemblyman Mazzeo, Assemblyman Brown, all 3 of them voted for it every time it was in the Assembly. Every time it was up for a vote. Now, if you talk to Assemblyman Brown about it, you wouldn't think that he voted for it, but he did. That provided some stability. I think things can be done now as there's more investment in the city to revisit some of those issues. But the biggest problem with the sharing of the property taxes and stuff is, the governor, the county executive, and the mayor not being able to get on the same page about it.
Hey, listen, we have much more discussion here with Colin Bell. He is running for State Senate in District 2. He has a slate that includes Vince Mazzeo and Mr. Amato.
John
Amato. And we have a lot more to talk about. So come on back. Much more of the Kevin Hall Show program is going to be coming your way right here on
News Talk 1400 WOND.